What's up guys, Justin Fuller here, and today I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the Walser Toyota store. This is part of a larger group that has over 32 different stores located over 3 different states. Now these guys are going to be tracking over 2,400 assets with us. And what I mean by that is they're going to be tracking not only their used cars, but they're going to be tracking their new vehicles also, and then along with that they're going to be tracking their new keys, used keys, and then all the spare keys too. So there's absolutely no reason they should ever have to worry about a lost key, recutting a key, or a misplaced car. So let's talk about how they're gonna do that. All right guys, so the first thing you're gonna need to do is set up a network that'll allow you to see your keys and cars as they float around the dealership. And that's gonna consist of 2 things. The first being a solar gateway. We install these outside. So this is gonna live, typically we'll mount them to light poles and that way it can catch light. And this is gonna allow that network to talk outside that you can see those key tags and those car tags as they float around the lot. Now inside the building, in case you have keys or cars located there, obviously your keys makes more sense, but even cars that are on the showroom floor, we're gonna use these interior gateways, right? So these connect to power, they can go through a USB or just a typical power outlet inside, and it makes it nice and easy. You can tuck them away, and this allows you to see those keys and cars inside the building. So let's talk about tracking those keys and cars and what we use as far as technology. All right guys, so when it comes to the network and tracking your keys and your cars, there's 2 pieces of technology that we're gonna use as far as tracking the keys and then tracking the cars. The first would be the keys. So it's gonna be this tag right here. It's super small. It reminds me much of like a tile that you would see out there in the retail market. And this is what allows you to see your keys as they float around on the lot, whether they be in the key machine that you may have, or even on a pegboard if that's the way you're doing things. So this way, if a key gets checked out, gets shoved in a desk, left over at make ready, dropped in service, or left out here on the lot like I'm on right now, you'll be able to quickly locate this car using either the app or you'll be able to use the desktop to quickly figure out where this is. And not only one step further, you can use our radar, which will walk you literally right up to the key. So if it happens to land out on the lot and it's under a car or something like that, it'll walk you right up to it. So it's not one of those things where it's getting you 20 feet or 50 feet or something of that nature. It's gonna take you right up to it. So that's your keys. Now when it comes to your cars, we're gonna use a little bit bigger tag, and that's because it's a little bit more powerful. So these you can throw around the rear view mirror. What's awesome about this is it's gonna be easy, noticeable. That way when you sell the car, you'll know, let's say it's your make ready guys, they'll know to pull this right off the car. And that way you can reprogram this just like you can with this one and put them on the very next car that's coming in. So just a reminder while I'm talking about that is these are reusable, meaning that I can pull them off, program them to the next car, and then move along. Now through your DMS system, once it boots that car out of your DMS because you've sold it, it'll automatically remove these from that car, then making these fresh tags that you can use again. So once again, we're gonna help you even more as far as being efficient as you work through this process with these.
All right guys, so here I am, and I have a cell phone pulled up, specifically an iPhone, with the app pulled up, and I've got a couple tags here. So let's say I'm a lot porter and cars are coming off a truck, and I wanna start tagging the keys and the cars immediately. So that way when the keys start to move around and the cars start to move around, whether they're going to PDI, whether they're going over to a service bay to get looked at, if it's maybe a pre-owned car you bought at auction, or maybe they're just gonna start moving around the lot and the keys are gonna go in the machine, that sort of thing, I can immediately know where these assets are, right? So let's talk about tagging, and then I'll show you what it's like to search via the app, right? So when it comes to tagging, there's a couple things. These are the car tags, right? And on the back, you've got a QR code and you've got numbers. So there's 2 different ways that you can do this, and I'll show you here in just a second. And on the key tag, same thing. I've got a QR code and numbers above. So it's gonna make it nice and easy to tag the keys and cars. I prefer the QR codes just because it's gonna eliminate that human error of actually typing in a 2 instead of a Z or a 0 instead of an O, right? Things like that. So under the True Tag Management, I can tag this, right? And then from here, I select my car. So I can search my stock number, search my VIN, find the specific vehicle that I want to tag this to. For the sake of this, I'm just going to choose this Audi sitting up here, right? So from this, I can see that there's already a key button and a car button, and that's the buttons I'm going to use to tag this, right? So for the sake of this, we're going to start with the car tag. So all I would have to do is touch the car tag. From here, obviously, I could type in those numbers on the back to search out this specific tag, or I can use this QR reader to do that. So what I'm gonna do is flip this over, and we'll use the QR reader. Now this specific tag isn't set up for this dealership, but you'll get what I'm talking about here in just a second. So all I've got to do, slide my tag over, get it, bam, now it's connected. And you can see it's throwing me up this code just because I haven't assigned this to a specific dealership, right? Same thing. Now, if we want to move back out of that, and I want to do the key tag, same thing, it's got a QR code on the back, or I can type in the numbers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type in, or hit that key button. From there, I'm gonna slide over. I wanna tag that, so I'm gonna hit my QR code reader, and then all I've gotta do is hit my QR code, and boom, I've assigned it, right? So obviously this isn't registered to this dealership, so you just ignore that. You won't get that for your store. But that quickly, all I have done is now assigned my key and my car to this specific 2014 Audi A7. So very easy to do when it comes to tagging your keys or tagging your cars. So let's talk about running a search real quick. So I want you to kind of understand that. So I have a find a key and car button up here, and this would be, for anybody who needs to be searching out cars, whether it be porters, whether it be your sales staff, maybe it's your service staff, whoever needs to be able to locate these cars and get them pulled up or pulled into a bay, whatever it may be, your PDI guys, make ready, everybody, right? So searching out a key or car, I have the ability to just type in a stock number or type in a VIN. I also have the option to be able to, search by color, make, model, things like that nature. But let's just do this the simple way here. So on this 2018 Alfa Romeo, this is a pre-owned vehicle on their lot. I want to say, hey, I can already see that the key has been tagged and the car has been tagged by the icons down here. So you can see those right there. So it's letting me know that if I search that, I am already going to have that option versus maybe this car down here that doesn't show them, right? So all I got to do is tap into the car. From here, it's going to immediately pull up and start showing me stuff. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit on the map just so you can see. So you can see my car is located right there and my key is located over here in the building. Now, the really cool thing about this is when I touch on my car, it's going to tell me where it's located to. So we've geo-fenced off port of their dealership. So it's letting me know it's in row 1 west, letting me know where that's at. And then if I tap on my key over here, it's actually letting me know it's in 1 micro, letting me know it's in their key machine. So this is going to make life a lot easier from a sales standpoint. If I'm not quite there yet, maybe I'm on the showroom floor with my customer, I can pull up this car quickly if they already have a stock number in mind and go, oh, okay, I can see the keys in the machine, car's right out front. So let me go grab that key real quick and we'll walk out there together. Or, hey, I can see that this car is actually way back over here in the corner of the dealership. Sir, ma'am, why don't you hang out here? Let me get you a hot or cold drink. I'll run and go get that car and get it pulled up for you, right? So efficiency and setting better expectations and just looking overall more professional to your customer base. So you can see it's that easy to run a search on a key or a car. Every time, all I've got to do, pull it up and it immediately shows me where the car is, and then tells me the location, which is super helpful to know that it's in the micro machine, their 1 micro machine, and then to know what part of the geofenced area it is and showing me on the map. So you can see very easy to use and going to help out your sales staff immensely versus walking around, hitting an alarm, trying to find necessarily a car. And let's be honest, not all key fobs work the same. Some of the alarms aren't going to work that well. And then at that point, you're blindly searching for a car, and that's after you search for the key, right? So this is going to make you so much more efficient when it comes to that.
All right, guys, so here we are on the dashboard for the Walser Toyota store. So you're going to be able to do not only your key searching and car searching, but also some upper level management material things too. So I want to start off by moving myself over here out of the way here and kind of show you a couple things. The first thing I want to show you is that here is their main location. And then they do have spillover lots that they'll be tracking keys and cars at, right? So if at any given point, one of these vehicles or the keys is over at this lot, or this lot, they'll be able to tell that. And what's really cool about that is, same thing, you can click on the lot, and then after you clicked on it, it'll give you a list of every vehicle that's sitting over at that lot. So it's gonna make life a lot easier if you're trying to figure it out. So if I run a search, obviously it would tell me if the key or the car is over there, and that way I can kind of set up my customers, or from a inventory management standpoint, I can start to understand, hey, how many cars do we have sitting over there? What are they? Let's look through this list and kind of figure it out. So for any of these locations, I have the ability to do that. Right? And then you can see that it throws a breadcrumb up there whenever I do a search, which I'll go through this a little bit more here in just a second. So let's zoom in onto the main lot though, and that way we can kind of show you some different things here going on. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here just so you can get a general kind of understanding and see the overview here. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is of course you can run your searches, right? So if you want to run a search, let me move myself over. I could type in a stock number, I could type in a VIN, I can search by pre-owned, I can search by year, make, model, trim. And it's only going to show what I actually have, right? So when you're coming down here, it's not going to show you a list of all the options, even if you don't have them on your lot or at one of your spillover lots, right? It's only going to show you what's available to you. So it makes life a little bit easier as far as you're looking through. So the search feature is just a little bit more in depth on the dashboard, and it's just presented to you a little bit differently. But know that you have this right over here. So if I want to search a Kia car, I could absolutely do that. It'll pull up this list over here. And then from there, same thing, run a search. I click on it. It pulls across all the imagery. So anything from the DMS, my stock number, my VIN, my pricing, my mileage. And then of course, let me move myself out of the way here. As I scroll down, it'll show me, not only same thing as the app, row 1 west, and it'll show me where that car is located, and then the key, same thing. It's telling me it's in the 1 micro machine, and it's showing me where it's sitting in the building, right? The difference between these two on the searches is that I don't have the option of the modar from the desktop, which makes sense. I'm not gonna be carrying around a desktop to walk me right up to a key, whereas I would the app, right? So good that we understand, we can see that these are basically the same things. And then in here, details and then activities. Activities is cool. So if this is a loaner vehicle or if there's something going on with this car, 1, I can put in notes if I want to. And then 2, I can see, where it was checked in, who it went to, geo arrivals and departures. So, when it was on the lot versus when it left, it timestamps. So in that info will play a role here in just a second. I'll explain a little bit more about that as far as the timestamping. So
from a inventory manager standpoint or anything like that, know that I can see, a list of how many vehicles are in each one, and then I can flip over to pins and it'll show me where different vehicles are sitting. So I can kind of do two different things here. What's really cool about this is not only can I search out my keys in my cars, but I can start looking at different things, and you'll see all these windows across the top, right? So I'm gonna break these down for you and explain. So the first one you see here is tagged keys. So this is pre-owned keys, right? So I've got 361 tagged out of 469, meaning that I have 108 left that haven't been tagged, which I can see. And the reason I can see that is because it is using DMS to do so. So I could click on that, and then it'll actually bring me up the list of the vehicles that haven't been tagged yet. So it makes it real easy to start understanding what's been tagged, what hasn't, and hey, let's talk about why these haven't been. And I can even export this list. So if I want to export lists and hand them off to people or ask about them, I absolutely can. And you can see as it creates these breadcrumbs over here that are my filters, right? Same thing with new keys. Then over here, I have pre-owned inventory. So what's tagged versus the total and what's remaining. And then my new inventory, right? So it breaks it out for all of these. Now, photo status is a really cool feature here that you should know a lot about. One, because what it will do is if I set up a person in the photo status section, which you can go to the back office over here, go to user accounts, select a person. So like this guy, if I set him up to the photograph, you'll see it also gives you kind of a warning here. What it's gonna do is it's only gonna show him this one box in the vehicles that he needs to know about. So if you're using a third-party vendor, they don't need all this information. That's not something that's pertinent to them. They just need to know, hey, I got 141 cars over here that haven't been, haven't had photos taken. Let me get a list and let me start hunting these cars down so I can find them, right? So it's gonna make this guy more efficient too, because then he knows, oh, okay, well, I can see the cars right over here. I can see where the key's at. It's in the tech bay, right? So now he can get through this quicker too. So it's going to make overall staff, your PDI guys, when they're looking for keys in cars, whether your photo booth guy is outsourced or he's in-house, he can find cars quicker. Everybody in the staff, your make-ready team, they can find the keys in the cars quicker. So it's going to improve overall efficiency, not only for your sales guys, but additional staff too, right? Whether it be auxiliary staff like a photo booth person. Now, manual entries over here, you have the option to do this, and where this really plays a role is, do you have something that specifically walks off of your dealership? A lot of times it's the jump boxes, you know what I mean, in case the battery goes dead. Well, you can tag those, and that way you could manually put it in jump box one, you could label it, and that way you could go find it, right? So you could search up and look up any of your jump boxes. So a lot of different things you can do with the manual entries. If there are particular things other than a car or a key that you want to tag, whether it be jump boxes, whether it be some certain accessory, it could be anything, right? Whatever seems to have legs at your dealership. So know that you can manually do that. Now, moving over another tag, this is where the inventory manager is really going to start to love this. Okay, so location of inventory, I can start to kind of run through searches and different things here. And what's cool is down this side, I can also search, like, I want to see all the 2017 Toyota RAV4s, right? I can see where they're sitting at, how they're on the lot, so I can understand, hey, do we have these all placed in the same row where they should be, or different things like that. So know that you can start to use some of these, and it makes this a really powerful tool as far as inventory management, just knowing and organizing your system. Now, as we move across here, you can see that it lists out where the vehicles are as far as, my Fuddrucker, which is one of my off-campus locations. France Place is an off-campus, and so forth and so on. So this way I can understand where my inventory is located. Now, here's a really cool one, days in inventory. So if I wanted to click on this, I could see items that are 90 plus days old. So not only will it give me a list of these items down the right side, so that if I need to sit in a meeting with management or a GM and kind of go over, hey, what's old? What do we need to do with it? Give me a list. I can export this list quickly. And then I can, on top of that, I can see where those 90 plus vehicle days are, right? So that way, if they're all sitting over in this back corner in my main buildings over here, hey, well, maybe nobody's buying them because nobody's seeing them. Let's get them over here in front of some people over by the service here where people are walking around and they may see them if we want to throw hang tags for, sell prices or just say sale, ask about the price, right? So you can start to use this to really manage your inventory from that standpoint additionally too. So know that you have that. Now I'm gonna move across to a third tab here. And you can see last sightings. Now, last sightings is really cool. The reason I like this is I can click on this tab, and what it's gonna do is show me, I wanna see cars that in the last 72 hours I haven't seen them, right? Where have they gone, right? So this one, it's telling me it's over at the Recon Center, meaning that this car either just came in or it left and went over there to go to Recon, and then it's leaving, right, to go to maybe a different store, because they do have a lot of stores that share the Recon Center. Right, so this is really cool. And not only can I click through these and kind of check them out and look at these cars, so as an opening duty as a manager, I could pull this up and go, okay, we got one car that's 24 hours old, says it's here, let's figure out what's going on with this car, right? Why was it missing? Did it get loaned out to a sales guy? Did it get loaned out to a customer? Did it have to go to the Recon Center? I can quickly put together a list of these vehicles and go, all right, what's going on with these? Do we need to check into these? Did somebody work a deal on them? What's the status of these? So that we can make sure they're not missing, right? In the sense of maybe possibly stolen. So quickly I can do that. And not only can I do that, but if I go into the back office, I can go into this user account here. And let's say I'm going to pick the same guy again. I can put the missing vehicles alert right here. I can turn this on. Each morning at 7 a.m., he's going to get an email with a list of those vehicles that haven't been seen, right? So it's going to make life for him a lot easier from, let's say, a managerial standpoint to understand, hey, let's check on these cars. Let's see what's going on them. So I don't have to pull this up and remember to do this. I'll get an email each morning. Now, I'm going to pull and turn this off, and I want to show you something really cool here. So right now, we're looking at vehicle assets over here. I can flip this over to keys. And what's really cool about this is if I turn the pins on, what I can do is start to see at the end of the night. So as a closing duty for a manager, I can look out here and go, okay, these keys are out on the lot. What's going on with these? Are these with a customer? Are they left in the car? Did they get dropped out on the lot? Or are these over at, a secondary location? Like maybe I've got a guy out there taking photos right now and he's got 5 or 6 keys and he's out there doing stuff, right? So some of that would make sense, but at the very end of the night, I shouldn't have any keys floating around on this lot out here, right? I should be able to see nothing out here and that they're all living inside of the building somewhere. So if I do see a key out here, quickly we can click on it, figure out what's going on with that specific car, and then go, okay, hey, go check for this car out there or this key, figure out what's going on with it, because I want to make sure we didn't leave a key out on the lot so that somebody can obviously get into a car and potentially drive it off the lot if you don't have gates, right? So this becomes a great closing tool and opening tool for your managers. So that's kind of the general rundown of the deals that you can see up here as far as your different tiles that you can use as far as the power of being able to search out keys and cars, from a sales manager standpoint, opening and closing duties to make sure you're managing your assets. And then of course, from an inventory standpoint, which we talked about, of being able to look at things like last sightings, and then of course, being able to, look at my days in inventory. Hey, what's 90 days old? What's 60 days old? Where is it located? Where do we need to move it around? And then being able to search, trims and makes and models over here on the left side to see, hey, if I've got, 15, 20, 21 RAV4s and they're all sitting 3 over here, 5 over here, 6 over here. How can we get these consolidated to where when I'm showing a car, we could walk them down that line to make things more efficient from that standpoint also.
All right, guys, so hopefully you have a better understanding of exactly how it works from the initial setup all the way through tracking your keys and cars using your phone or whether using the desktop, right? So just to kind of go over or review, I should say, what we just talked about is initially what we do is we set up that network so that you can see where your keys and your cars are floating around your lot, and then of course see if they're off premise. So if you've got spillover lots, you can of course track those keys and cars there. And then when it comes to tracking them using your phone, you can of course use the app to not only track your keys and cars so that you can hunt them down from a sales standpoint, but you can also tag those keys and cars. So if you're maybe a porter working for the team, getting the cars tagged the minute they come off the truck, so that from there, when they go to make ready, when they go to PDI, when they land out on the lot, you'll already know where those keys and cars are so that they don't get lost. And then additionally, as we move over to that dashboard, of course, the sales staff can use it. So if a key gets misplaced, I can use, of course, my phone to use that Modar version that we talked about that'll walk you right up to a key. So if it's left out on a lot, if it gets shoved in a desk, if it gets left over at a bay, that a tech was using, you'll be able to find those keys and walk you right up to them. And then when we hop onto that dashboard, now not only are you helping your sales staff as far as searching out keys and cars the same way, but additionally, my sales managers can use this because of course they can use it for those opening and closing duties to see, hey, let me get that email in the morning, let me know a list of cars that hasn't been seen in the last 24 hours. I can then pull that up and start figuring out what's going on, who worked a deal on them, did we loan it out, do we have the paperwork, or is it legitimately missing? And then of course at the end of the night, I can help manage my assets as a closing duty for a sales manager, being able to pull up and switch over to the assets and see if there's keys sitting out on that lot, so I can tell, hey, did a key get dropped out on the lot? Did it fall? Did it get left in a car? So that we can make sure we're really managing our assets well. Now, past that, your sales staff can use it, your sales managers can use this, and then even moving over into your inventory managers who will absolutely love this tool, being able to do a lot of different things, such as, hey, let me run a search for all the 2021 Toyota RAV4 XLE premiums, right? I want to know where those are so I can consolidate and make sure these are all organized and sitting on the lot in one specific area so that my lot's just better organized and it makes it easier for my sales staff. And then 2, let's start looking at things like what's 90 days old, what's 60 days old, where is it located on the lot? Let me export that list. Let's grab that list and then go, okay, let's get all of these cars moved over to a higher trafficked area, maybe closer to the building, maybe closer to service where people are walking around. Maybe I want to throw sales tags in them, right? I want to try to build some traffic on those to move those off my lot so I'm not paying those holding costs on those vehicles, right? So from an inventory management standpoint, I can start to understand where aged inventory is. I can start to understand, hey, where is, specific vehicles and trims are sitting out on my lot so I can better organize the lot, right? So from an overall efficiency standpoint, my inventory manager can be more efficient, my sales team can be more efficient, my management system can be more efficient to make sure they're taking care of their sales staff and the vehicles and keys as they float around. And then even my PDI guys,
my tech guys. Anybody who's gonna be touching a key in a car can get to it quicker. My photo booth guys are a perfect example. Maybe it's a guy who's not on your lot. This guy can now quickly find those cars. He can pull it up, see that the key's in the key machine or it's not. He can see where the car's at on the lot so that he can get through that quicker, because we all know that if you don't have photos up of your, especially your pre-owned vehicles, the chances of you selling them are dramatically lower than that, right? Than if you had pictures up. So efficiency is improved. We're cutting down. You're not going to be paying to recut and reprogram keys. And we can all agree that those are increasingly getting more expensive as smart keys kind of develop more technology. So we're going to save you there too. So if you have questions, comments, concerns, you want to go over this and talk about your store, one, you can give me a call, you can give me a text, you can give me an email. I'll put all my contact down below in the description. And then of course, I'll also put my online scheduler there. So if you want to set up a demo and we can kind of go through this, you can ask some questions that pertain specifically to your dealership on how we can kind of help address some of the issues that you're running into, we can absolutely do that. So feel free to, shoot me an email, call, or text and let me do that. Or if you want to pick a date and time and schedule something for us, a 30-minute quick Zoom call, we can absolutely do that below too. Other than that, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the Walser store, specifically at the Toyota store, for being the first on as we bring on additional stores in their group. And I appreciate you watching. So let me know if I can help you out. Other than that, say thank you and later, guys!